Hello guys, welcome back to my channel FCodes. Today we are going to solve a GFG problem of the day of 7th March. The name of the problem is longest repeating and non-overlapping substring. It is a hard level problem. So let's see what the problem is saying. So the problem statement is given a string s of length n, find the longest repeating non-overlapping substring in it. In the other words, find two identical substrings of maximum length which do not overlap, and if you are not able to find it, return -1. Okay, fine. So let's understand it in more detail that what this question is saying. So let's say that we have been given in a string this. All that we have to find the longest repeating and non-overlapping substring. So what does that mean? This means that if you can see this an and this an is repeating, and it's the longest substring which is repeating two times, at least two times here. Okay, so this output would be an. But if you are seeing this here, this longest repeating here, the longest repeating substring also could be ana and ana, and this substring size would be 3. So the output should be a and a, but it is not because this a is overlapping here, and we don't want this overlapping. Okay, we only want the non-overlapping substrings, which is the longest in length. Okay, so yeah, cool. So the question statement is very easy, and now let's understand that how to approach and how to solve this problem. So our first approach could be brute force method. So in the brute force method, you're gonna run 2 loops for iteration and 1 loop for comparison. So total 3 loops you're gonna use, and the time complexity would be O of n cube. But this is not optimal, and this would not be accepted. This would give you an TLE. So that's why the second approach is the DP approach, and we are gonna solve it using this DP approach because this question is based on this DP on strings. Okay, cool. So now we will solve it using DP. Fine. So in the DP, first of all, this is gonna be a 2D DP. Okay. The second is the time complexity would definitely be O of n square. Fine, because we are gonna run 2 for loops, and the space complexity is gonna be O of n square because this is a 2D DP. So now let's see that how are we gonna initialize the DP, and what does the DP cell represent. So let's say this is the DP which we are gonna initialize, and this DP cell represent, what does this represents? So it represents the length, okay, of longest repeating and non-overlapping. So this cell will contain the length of the longest repeating, longest matching, and the non-overlapping substring. Okay, fine. So now let's understand it using the example. Okay, so let's say that we have been given this same string banana. Okay, now let's listen very carefully and do not skip any part of the video because you may not be able to understand the concept. Okay, so just be with me and just listen carefully what I'm going to say, because it may be, this part may be tricky for you, but don't worry because I'm gonna dry run the DP array for you and you will be able to understand after I'm going to dry run. Okay, so now just listen. We know that in this string this an is repeating. Fine, so just to make your work easier, okay, just to let you understand, I'm directly going to find my answer. Okay, fine. So now let's say that there is 2 pointers I put here at this ith, at this a position, okay, the ith pointer, and again at this j position. Now there would be a comparison, a and a, this character are matching, so the length of our answer would be increased to 1. Fine. So now after this, a point will come when this I would be here, this I would be here, and this j would be here. Fine. So when the I and j come here, again the characters are matching. Okay, so this length should be incremented by 1 and it will become 2. So why it has been incremented by 1 and it is becoming 2? Because when this I and j come here, it will check that their previous element, like on this previous element at this a position, what was the length. So definitely at this previous position the length was 1, and now we are on the next position okay, the next element, and still the string is same. So the string, so the answer would be incremented by 1 and it will be 2. Fine. So this was just a vague example. I'm not sure that you will be able to understand with this. So I'm now going to write a code of the DP which we are going to use and make you understand with the DP array. So okay, so we are going to try run the DP array and you will be able to understand this. Okay, cool. So what would be the DP conditions? Okay, so the first condition is when the characters of the strings are equal. So what would happen? The current in the current DP cell, the value would be DP of I minus 1 and DP of j minus 1. So what is happening here? So when the characters of the string is equal, the current DP cell value would be assigned to 1 plus diagonal element of the DP. Okay, fine. The second condition is if it is not equal, if s of I is not equal s of j, so what would happen? This DP current cell would simply be 0. Fine. So these are the two conditions which we need to follow while writing the code. There is one more additional case, and that is the important case which will tell the non-overlapping part, okay, which will handle this non-overlapping part, and that is this dp of I and j should be less than or equal to j minus I. So the current cell of this dp should be less than the difference of these pointers. Okay, so this is the condition for non-overlapping. Okay, so now we are going to try run this DP array and we will understand this with the help of an example, and we will see that how this code is working. So maybe you will not be able to understand this part right now, but once I am going to try run the code for you, I am going to make you understand that how we are proceeding and how we are doing the code. Okay, so these are the three conditions which we are going to follow. Okay, cool. So now take an example. Let's say the string is same as banana. Now we are going to create the DP array. Okay, cool. So we have created this DP array, and this DP array is 2D DP array with the size of this length of this string. Okay, and we have also mapped this string index with the DP index. Okay, so now there's one thing that we will initialize this whole DP with a value of 0. Okay, cool. So initially this all the cells would have been filled with the value 0, but for now this first row and the first column should be 0 because it will always be 0. Okay, fine. So let's write it. Also, there is one condition which I forgot to tell you, is that this in this when we are iterating and there and this is I and this is j. First of all, this j would never be beyond before I. Okay, so that's why all of these values in which this j is before I would not be filled. Okay, also if this I and j are at the same position, what would happen? What would be the length? Okay, so let's say that this I and j are at the same position. So what would be the length of the repeating substring which is non-overlapping? So the length would be 0. Why would it be 0? Why not 1? Because if we compare the b with the b at the same position, they are the overlapping. These are the overlapping case. So definitely this answer would be 0 because we don't want any overlapping case. And in this case, when we are comparing an element with itself, this is an overlapping case. So that's why if I is equal to j, this dp would be 0. Okay, so that's one thing. So all of this diagonal element would be 0. Okay, so now we are going to fill this dp array and understand that what is happening here and how is this dp array is being filled. Okay, basically, so this is the ith pointer and this is denoting the jth pointer. Fine. So we are going to fill this this place which is at a pointer I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 2. I is at a position of b. Okay, fine, and j is at the position a. Okay, so now we will compare these strings. These are not equal. Okay, b is not is equal to a. So what was the second condition? That this cell would be 0, filled with 0. Okay, so we have filled with the 0. Similarly, this b will be compared with this n. Okay, so now this j is at this location, and now we are comparing b with n. Here b with n, because they are not equal, it will be filled with 0. And in the similar manner, b is not equal to a, so the 0, b is not equal to n, so 0 and 0. Okay, so now we are at I is equal to 2. Okay, so now our I would be at this location. Our I would be at this location at the position A. Fine. Okay, so now we have to see where our j is. So our j is starting from, definitely from this position, n position. Okay, so now we will compare. A is equal to n. No, a is not is equal to n, so it will be filled with 0. So now this j pointer will be incremented and move to this a position. So now we will compare. Is a is equal to a, so definitely a is equal to a. So now at this instant, this first condition will be triggered. So if this characters are equal, we will see the diagonal value. This is the current cell which we are filling. We will see the diagonal value. What is it? 0, and we will add 1 to it. Okay, so we will add 1 to 0. So what would be the value? The value would be 1. Okay, in a similar manner, we will compare a with n. So a is not is equal to n, so this would be 0. A and a, we will now comparing a with a. So this first condition will be triggered, and in the diagonal element the 1 would be added, so this would also be 1. And so we have filled the second row. So why we are filling this with 1? Okay, it's time to understand this. So let's say that this was the point where our comparison was made. So this was the point where our comparison was made and the characters of the strings were equal. A is equal to a. So now what this 1 is denoting is that we have found a length. Okay, this is the length in which these two substrings are equal. So currently when we are comparing this a with a, we have found a length. We have found a length of 1. This is the maximum length which we have found, in which the substrings are longest, repeating and non-overlapping. So this a and a are repeating and non-overlapping. So and the maximum size is what? The maximum size is 1. So this 1 is denoting this condition. Okay, this thing. So now we are going to start filling this third row. Fine. Now our I is at n and our j is start from a. So our I is at n, this n, and j start from a. Now we will compare. N is equal to a. No, so 0. N is equal to n. Okay, so now we are saying that n is equal to n. So what should happen? This second condition would be triggered, and we will fill we will add the 1 with the diagonal element, and this would be 1 plus 1 2. Fine. Now we will again compare n with a, and it will, and n is not is equal to a, so it would be 0. Now we are moving to the fourth row. Okay, and now we compare a with n, not equal, so this would be filled with 0. A with a. Now this is a critical condition. Okay, we are going to understand it why. This is a critical condition. This is a critical condition, and this is a corner case. Basically, this is the case which will define that whether our problem is solving this non-overlapping part or not. And for this scenario, we are using this third condition. So let's say that when a is equal to a, by default what should happen if we have implemented this first condition? This 1 would be added to this value 2, and there would be 3. And okay, fine, but this will not happen. Okay, this should not happen. Why should not happen? So let's see, let's understand. So see here, so this ith pointer is at position a, and this jth pointer is at position last position. Now we are saying that we have found, if we are writing 3 here, we are saying that we have found a length of 3 characters which is repeating but non-overlapping. Okay, we are saying here that this is the length 3. We have found characters of length 3 which are repeating, okay, and non-overlapping. But when we see here, what is happening here? Let's say this ith pointer is at index 3 and the jth pointer is at index 5, and if we find the length between these two indexes, this will be 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. So length between these two indexes is 2, and we are saying that we have found that length which is repeating and non-overlapping, which is of 3. How could this be possible? If this pointer is pointing in on this location, and this difference between these two equation is only 2, and we are saying that we have found this non-overlapping substring of length 3, this could not happen. Because if we are finding this length 3, this means that it is overlapping, because it would consider this case. This is the case, this is the overlapping case which is being considered here, and this should not have. If you think about it carefully, you would understand that what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say that this difference between these two indexes are 2, and we are finding a length greater than this difference, so it is not possible. So we will put 0 here. Okay, so this we will put 0 here. If this condition arises, we will put 0 here. So this would not be 3, and this would be 0. So this was the only critical problem and the corner case which you needed to understand, and this is the thing which is solving this non-overlapping problem. Fine, now we will continue next. N and A we are comparing, and it is not equal, so it is 0. Fine, so we have filled our DP array completely. Now what? How would it determine that what is the value, and what is the length, and what was the string which we got? So see, we will traverse and we will find the maximum value in it in the DP array, and this maximum value in the DP array is definitely this 2. Okay, so this is the location where the maximum element is, and now we see this index and we will retrace it diagonally. Okay, so when we retrace it diagonally, what we will find? This is the N. Okay, and this is the A. We are retracing it till we find a 0. So when we retrace, what are we finding? This is the A and this is N. So the string AN is the output. Okay, fine. So now I'm going to show you the code. Okay, so see here that I've initialized the DP array. Okay, 2D DP array, and here I've set the size of all the cells in the DP to 0. Now we are doing this, we are running this for loop, and we are checking here that if this string is, if the characters of the strings are equal, and the second condition, this is the one which we have discussed. This is the third condition which we have discussed. Okay, so we are checking here that this index, this value should not be greater than j minus I, which is the difference between the indexes. And if this condition is fulfilled, we are updating our DP array. And here what we are doing is that we are updating our maximum result length. Okay, and we are also updating our index where we will find this from where we will find the value. Okay, and this is the else condition, where if this condition are not meeting, and if strings characters are not equal, so we will assign it to 0. Now this is the code where we are doing this traversing, and we are finding the what was the string which is longest and non-overlapping substring. Okay, and if we are not able to find any of this, we are returning -1 as stated in the question. So that was the question. It was a hard question, and I think if you follow this video and do the dry run yourself, you will able to get this. And let's run it and submit it and see that if this code is working or not. Okay, fine. So this code is working and all the test cases have been passed. So thank you all. If you have any questions, if you are not able to get a concept or anything like that, you could ping me in the comment section, and I will try my best to solve your problem. So thank you all. Now I will meet you in the next video solving the next GFG problem. So thank you all. Bye bye.